So in a stream that I was doing not too long ago, I had gotten into the conversation that I used to make Team Fortress 2 maps, and a lot of people after that wanted to see a couple of the others that I had done. So I figured, you know what, let's do something a little bit different. Let's just go through a couple of the maps that I've made, and I've really only finished like 2, but I'll go through the ones that are at least mostly complete, and we'll kind of just see what's in them, because honestly I don't remember. So this is the first map that is called VSH_lab_1, and this is a map that I made for the Saxton Hale game mode, I believe, pretty sure, and I made this kind of for a server that I used to play on and kind of just in general. This is arguably the most finished map that I have done, because I actually figured out how to do, like, smooth lighting and stuff, actually getting the shadows to work. I figured out what the frick a cube map was. I implemented everything that you need to actually make a real map into this one. The design was based off of an old event map that I made for the server that I used to be an admin on. Me and a couple other people all did our part in making it, and what I did was like an event room. And if you go back and watch one of my really old videos called Low Gravity Adventures or something like that, you'll see a very similar design in that video on a different map. And I ended up just like modifying that and building off of it, because I realized, like, hey, this would be great for a Saxton Hale map. Alright, so let's look at the inside of the map. This is where the red team would spawn. Again, this is for Saxton Hale, so the spawns aren't like super detailed and done. They're mainly just somewhere where everyone can start. Modeled, kind of industrialized. I just kind of threw a couple models in here that I thought would work pretty well. The saturation on some of the concrete textures is a little bit crazy, but overall, I like how this turned out. Let's run into the rocket room. The rocket room was kind of the main area, featuring some jump pads. Those took quite a while to figure out. And generally, this is a vertical-ish room that I kind of wanted to make it so, like, hey, if you're standing up here, you can, like, try to keep the Saxton Hale down there, like in the lower areas, but the Saxton also has some opportunities to get around that. You can run up onto this top area, and I guess I just made this for a sentry spot. I don't actually remember why I constructed some of these things the way that I did. Oh, and this is also the control point. If you stand kind of like around the rocket on this this octagon, I believe up here, you end up being able to capture it, because you actually have to have one of those for the arena game mode. And I guess Saxton Hale's kind of a modification of the arena game modes. That's just a neat feature. I was trying to work with it so it doesn't look like the rocket is just clipping through the hole, but I ended up with some like weird texture clipping issues when I did that. And the control point for some reason just wouldn't work properly, so I ended up scrapping that. But yeah, the rocket room was not super impressive. It was just kind of a way for me to include some of the models, and the rocket was really only added just to kind of fill the space in, so it's not just like a huge empty room. This is the water room. I don't really have detailed names for these, but it's kind of just working off of what it looks like. Nice little setup control panel thingy over here. Not a ton else in this map. I did add the specific spot here where engineers could place sentries, because I am a huge fan of sentry cheese in Saxton Hale, but I also added this pillar, so you can only cheese them from like one direction, and it does require a decent amount of teamwork to get to fully be able to shut down the hail. And even if you like put a sentry like here, and then you put another one here to prevent him from jumping up this way at all, the Saxton can still jump up off of these boxes, and it ends up being kind of balanced. So just a neat detail that I added, and I don't know if I've seen this map in use. Supposedly this actually was added to the regular rotation for one of the servers, but I personally never got to see what this looked like in use. The water that you land in does hurt you very slowly, and I mean, I did that just to make it so you can't just camp behind the pillars, otherwise that would be kind of lame. And but you do have these little thingies to jump on here, and then this just is a little hallway that goes back to spawn. I'll get to the Easter egg that I added at the end, but that is the majority of this room. I think the sentry spots for the engineers were the main area that I wanted to add there, but that's pretty much it. The other area that I added, well, I guess the third, not the other, is this room, the chair desk room. And this was part of the original design for the event map that I had. This is actually the first area that I made. And it also has the toxic waters, but it has a little bit more area that you can go on, and you just kind of have to go through the toxic waters if you want to get to this little back area. Now, I thought I had a health pack here, and I'm not entirely sure what happened to that, but that's just kind of whatever. I don't remember what I was trying to do with this room. I guess I was, like, just working with the design that I had, and I just intuitively said, like, hey, this would be kind of neat if I remodeled it for Saxton Hale. And outside of that, just, it looks cool, and that's about all I can say about it. And then at the very top here is the chair room, and the only comment that I got in this entire room, the first time that I showed this map to somebody is this where the boss baby sits? And I was very tempted to just remove that person from my friends list because, like, what the frick. But, yeah, that's it for this room, I believe. There's a little bit of stuttering. That's interesting. But then the connector to spawn is just a little vent. I was kind of proud of this one. I think this turned out pretty nicely. And there is a little sub area here. If you are able to break these vent thingies here, you can go into this room, which I call the Super Giga Engineer Camping Spot 9000. But what some people also don't realize is that you can break this window, and it takes a while to do as Saxton Hale, but if you're playing Engineer and you're keeping the Hale away, then you can kind of break it and run. And I don't know why I added that. I was just kind of bored, and I was like, hey, we'll just hollow out a little section of something to add. So then the last area of this map is the outside room, and I guess it's not really a room if it's outside. But this was the rest of the map in the original trade map. It wasn't outside, so I had to kind of model this all just randomly. But this kind of just serves as a connection to make sure everything is, like, not all boxed in. For instance, without this, the only way that you could get from this room directly to that room is the little spawn corridor, and I just wanted to make it so the map was a little bit more open. Ideally, if I had to redo this map, I'd make the outside area a little bit deeper, like it would go back farther this direction, but I'm not completely unhappy with how it turned out. Not a ton to even look at in the outside area. I think the most interesting part is this little boxes area, which I carefully measured for, like, engineer buildings and stuff, but just a neat little detail, I guess. And then this in here is where Hale would spawn, as shown by this medic who, oh, actually can attack me. Okay, calm the frick down, buddy. And there are two more things that I could not quite show with Scout that I will show off with Soldier really quick. And one of them is the top of the pillars up here. You actually can go up here, and I put little ammo packs and stuff. I believe I set these to be no builds in one of the versions of my map. I don't remember if, like, someone complained about it and then I changed it to be no builds, or if I was like, hey, this would be a really cheesy sentry spot, let's do it, and then, like, removed it, but I think it's the former. And then these you actually can build here because it's a lot easier for the Hale to attack, but that's something neat. And I don't, oh yeah, I guess you can jump over, because I wanted to make it so the Hale had an easy way to get around the map. It wasn't just, like, hitting ceilings all the time. Then the last spot that I had was the Easter egg spot, where if you stand in the water and shoot at this wall for some reason, you can actually crouch under here, and then it has a little credits room and a little platform that I guess just kind of exists. That I don't know if you could okay, there you go. But I don't know what you'd even use this room for. I don't think buildings can fit in here, but it's just a neat little detail that I wanted to add, because a lot of the maps that some other people on that server were making at that time had a really cool credit room. So I was like, hey, I don't know if I can make a really cool credit room, but I will at least do something to show that I made it. Just, you know, just in case anybody wants to, like, rip off the map. So yeah, that is VSH Lab 1. This, again, was the only map that I ended up finishing, and even though I think by a lot of more completed map standards, this is the farthest that I have ever taken a map, including, like, cube maps and a bunch of just, like, details and stuff, and I like how this turned out. I think I'll probably end up, if I ever get the time, YouTube has taken up a lot of my time and creative energy, since I've started doing maps, but, if I ever end up finishing this, I'll probably do a couple more changes and then upload it to Game Banana. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. I'll just go, like, most finished to least finished, I guess. Alright, this is the second closest that I had ever gone to completely finishing a map. This is called just CTF_Spybase. I don't know why I called it that, but it sounded cool at the time. You might be able to tell that there's not that much lighting in here. It's like, it's something called pseudo Fulbright, where it's like, the map actually does have lighting data in it, so it does render, like, some shadows, but it doesn't have lighting data for that many places, so you don't end up getting it that much. This was a capture the flag map that I intended for maps that had, like, a lot higher counts for capture the flags. Like, instead of playing to, like, 3, as it says down there, you would end up playing to, like, 7 or 10 or something because the flags are so close. I can't really do, like, a flyover of the map because a lot of it's just kind of untextured garbage here. It's mostly indoors, which I think is what I was going for, but this is the general layout of the map. It's pretty small, I think, all things considered. I tried to add some complexity to the smallness to make it not just, like, complete cancer, but yeah, it's very Turbine-esque, I guess, for a lack of a better term. So let's go back into Spawn and explore what this might have to offer. These are the fun automatic doors, which are very glitchy that I never ended up finishing. And here is the Intel Room. So this is the map that I was first experimenting around with the concept of these breakable vent textures. I guess just for whatever reason that sounded really interesting to me. And I wanted to incorporate those into a larger scale map. So the intel is in this little container area here. I guess I can't pick up my own intel. I'll show how quick you can cap it with reds. But yeah, it's a pretty small intel room. There's not that many angles to camp it from. Like, you can put a sentry under here, but eventually you can't really cover all the paths. So this is the main way to get into the intel room, or you can take the cool kids way to get into the intel room by breaking this vent grate and going up onto the top level. And I have no idea why I decided to make these breakable. I just wanted a vent somewhere. I guess I just went through, like, a secret agent phase in map making and was like, hey, I just want to make a functional map out of this. And yeah, I don't think you can stand up here, but pretty basic hallway. It really does favor close range classes. Here's the other route out of spawn, by the way. You go out into this little outside area, which I don't think I ever finished. But I was pretty close to getting done with. This will kill you. I'll demonstrate that at the end. But yeah. And then there is one last way out of spawn, which is breaking this vent. And then you can, of course, go onto the other side of spawn with this as well. And then you can drop down and spawn. And this gets you just straight to the center room. So it's kind of a one-way thing, so it's not like you can like take it back or take the intel back up that direction. But if you just want a quick way out of spawn to mid, that's what you're gonna get. The ladders were a little bit of a work in progress. I'm not sure I ever got these to work. Very barely. What in the world? Yeah, they're a glitchy mess, but it was an attempt. I don't actually know how I made these, so I can almost get up there. But ideally, you'd be able to go up those, and yeah, end of story. So then I also made these, like, little snaking pathways along the side where if you broke these vents, you could just basically straight up run to the other side and land in the water for some reason. Not sure why I put that there. And it's pretty much a straight shot to the opponent's intel room from there. And finally, I think the only other detail that I had in this map is in the outside area, you actually can run up these stairs and go to this little top section of the map. And honestly, maybe it's better thinking about it now that you don't have these ladders. But yeah, this is a very, very small map. I ended up scrapping development on this one because I, like, kind of did some test plays on it, and I realized, hey, you know what? This would be just absolute cancer to play on. This is just Turbine, but even more close quarters, and without completely revamping the entire structure of this map, I have no idea why anybody in their right mind would play on this. That is CTF Spy Base. Like I said, I like the direction that I was taking it visually, but I don't think the layout would have worked super well, and I think I was right for scrapping development of this. But hey, maybe some people will just look at this and say, like, wow, I really wish I had a completed version of this map to play on. You should finish it. And I mean, if you think that for any of the maps I'm going to show off, hey, maybe you can be the one personally who gives me the motivation to finish it. I don't know. But then yeah, death. That's fun. Alright, moving on. Alright, this is arguably the third closest to a finished map that I've produced, which is called CTF_Underground War. And this was actually based off of a game in Roblox. Now, I know it's Roblox, but bear with me, it used to be a good game. Called Underground War, which had the premise of there are a frick ton of cubes underground that are made out of dirt, and you have a specialized sword that you can use to mine the cubes. And when you end up breaking the cubes, you can kind of form your own underground path through them. And I think I tried to make it so you could only break these with melee, but I'm not sure that's a feature in Team Fortress 2 without a lot of mods, so I never ended up getting the basic feature of this to work. But I really like the concept of kind of having to, like, carve your own way out underground and make that something that you do. Why did I spawn on blue team's side? That's weird. Anyway, the underground thing is kind of laggy. I'll pan up here. You can see that there's a little bit of frame drops here. I don't know if you can, like, see the input delay or whatever, but yeah, I'm dipping to like 45 FPS when anywhere else I'm getting like 300. And it wasn't the most functional, but I made it work. Now, the reason that I ended up scrapping this, I think there were like two reasons, is number one, I ended up seeing like someone on the workshop had done like not an interpreted version like mine. Like I took some liberties in forming this into the TF2 art style a little bit, not a ton, but like I used TF2 native textures instead of just using the default bricky Roblox textures that exist. And I also put a house around the intel. Normally it's just like a little rectangle that the intel spawns on, and I did that just to make it so there's a little bit more cover, and I added these barriers just so it's not sniper hell. And the second problem that I ran into, and I don't think you can actually tell, this is actually an earlier version of the map, I've just realized, but in the more recent version of the map that I had lighting, and the lighting is so hard to implement underground because pretty much you have to just either add random light sources which don't look like they're coming out of anything, or you have to like add lights in the dirt cubes which kind of glitch out and lag the thing. It's a little bit hard to do, and I just generally could not figure it out, and I was like, you know what, there's no point in even trying to solve this because someone already made a better version of this map, so I will just play that one, and I think that scratches my itch. Maybe at some point, like one of my map review videos, I will take a look at the other Underground War map that was made by someone else, but I think for now, you can kind of get a sense of what I was going for in this one by looking at the one that's currently uploaded to the Steam Workshop. But I'm not entirely displeased of how this one turned out. I made this one fairly early on, so like I did a lot of weird techniques and like decisions, and I don't like some of them looking at them now, but I don't think it turned out too terribly. Not a ton of complaints. So I guess let me know what you think about this one. I don't have a ton of motivation to finish this one just because, again, there is a better version in existence, but maybe if people just really want to see like this stylized version, I'll update it or upload it or something so other people can finish it. Who knows? But yeah, let's move on to the last map just so this video doesn't get too long, and we'll see how much I finished it because I honestly don't remember. Alright, and this is the fourth and final map that I'll be showing in this video that I didn't quite get as much done as I would have liked, but I do want to show it off because the parts that I did get done, I think, turned out super well. And this is called CTF_fissure. Now, you'll see why I called it fissure when we get outside, but this is the pretty barren spawn room. I didn't get much of a chance to add a ton to it. It's pretty much just serves as a pretty basic spawn room, all things considered. But what I ended up doing outside is I ended up making, so the kind of the theme of this map is that there's a giant freaking cliff that you could fall into. Now, I never did end up finishing the cliff, and I didn't texture the other side because I was like, you know what, I'll probably just clone this side for symmetry reasons, and I want to make sure I'm 100% done with this before I do that. And I never ended up getting 100% done with this, but I kind of got close, I guess. But yeah, this is kind of the gimmick of the map, is that there's like only a couple bridges and ways that you can cross, otherwise good luck. So there's the 3 main ones. There's like a little house right here that you can go up into and shoot out the window as a sniper, and I guess any other classes, but that's just kind of there. And there's also this side house thingy, which, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the purpose of this is. I just kind of made it to fill in the space, and I never kind of got far enough into this map to give it a second thought. But I think the thing that I was most finished with in this map was the intel room and the subsequent ways to get to the intel room. So first of all, there's this like bridge underneath which you can run across, and it takes you into this little cave area, and you can run up this ramp and go into kind of the intel room. Here's where the actual intel is. Again, didn't get much of a chance to finish it, but it was just a neat little feature, I guess. And then here's an upstairs sniper deck, which has crazy sight lines. Goodness gracious, I really didn't think some of this through. But yeah, it exists there for reasons. Generally, I think the reason for this room is just kind of to repel sentries. I figured, like, you know what, the best sentry spot would probably be, like, under here. And if you put a sentry, like, right here, there's not much that someone could do to get the intel, because it's kind of blocked from a lot of the sight lines. Like, you'd have to stand right here to see it, or if you even walked into this room at all, you get shot by it. So sentry spots are, they make designing Team Fortress 2 maps correctly a very difficult process, to say the least, but it is something to at least consider if you want to do the map correctly. But I'm aware that I did not get the most done with this map. I think what I was kind of the most proud of, if you can even say proud in this circumstance, is the general concept and design of the map. And I think just something with a giant hole down the middle would be really neat. And if I were to come back and finish any of the maps, it would probably be this one, although I'm still not a huge fan of the current design that I have. This is one that I'm very sad that I never got to finish, or never really had the time or energy for, because I think there's a decent concept to work with, and I think that what I have is halfway decent, to say I guess the most about it. But yeah, fun stuff. Let me know what you think of the maps I have presented. I have a couple others that are somehow even less done than these. I didn't even get around to, like, completely finishing the map for this one, versus the others, which are just like a lighting or like a texture problem. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. So I know this is a little bit different than what I normally do. I just kind of wanted to show this off because I had a couple people asking about it, and figured, you know what, I might as well do something like this, because that's something that I've never really talked about before that I would love to share with you all. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, leave any feedback that you have for these maps. I am very curious to hear, like, ways that you think the general design of these could be improved. I think, as good as I am at judging maps that already exist, it's kind of hard to give an unbiased opinion when looking at the stuff that I'm designing myself. So having a second opinion look at it and give it the old look through would be ideal. So thank you for watching. If you have any ideas for other maps that I could make, I mean, I'm not really in the map making business anymore, but I could take a look at them. And yeah, I guess just have a good one.